Welcome back, guys, to another tutorial. Today I'm using the Zhiyun Weebill 2. We're going to be talking mainly about the POV mode. Now, if you haven't already, watch my previous 3 tutorials on lock mode, follow mode, and pan follow mode. Once you get that technique down in those videos, you'll be able to watch this with confidence and you'll be able to tackle this properly. Now, before we continue with the tutorial, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to WinX Video Converter for sponsoring this portion of today's video. WinX HD Video Converter doesn't only help you save space, but it can also help restore files that your computer or software cannot read properly. Software like Adobe Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, and Final Cut can have problems with some Canon, Sony, and even Fujifilm files. To use the software, you can simply download the trial just to see how it works, and then you can just drag and drop files that your software cannot read properly. Now, WinX HD Video Converter isn't only great for video editing platforms, but if you want to save space when transferring over to your iPhone or iPad, this is a great way to do so. So if you're looking to save space or use less processing power and to make video editing easier for you, use WinX's HD Video Converter. Check out the link down below. So here we are in a home that looks pretty well lit already. And if you've seen some of my older tutorials, you'll probably know where I am. All right, but first thing what we want to do, guys, is, especially for those of you who shoot real estate video, you want to go ahead and venture throughout the house and see where POV mode can really be used. POV mode can't be used for every single shot. I mainly like to use POV mode whenever I'm going through a hallway like this one here. Even though it's a small hallway, it's narrow, and POV mode is gonna actually add some really cool effects. Now, this is not only good for real estate videos, but this is also good for short films and horror films in particular, because people like James Wan love POV, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and go to POV mode on the Weebill 2. Don't worry if you have a DJI Ronin or any other gimbal from any other brand. All those gimbals have POV mode, so you'll be able to access that pretty easily. Now, one thing I like to preach, sorry, this is getting heavy, I'm going out of breath here, is you should be using 2 hands at all times in POV mode, because after a while, you are going to get really stressed. Your arm's gonna get really stressed, your shoulder's gonna be really stressed, so you want to create as much support for your arms as possible. So you wanna use 2 arms, elbows down to your sides. All right, let me extend the selfie stick so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Elbows to your sides, locked in, and you wanna start off already turned on POV mode. I like to keep the center mark on my camera so I can properly position the frame, and we can start moving forward. And if you have a look at my feet, you'll notice that I am going heel to toe, all right? And if you're not really that great at getting stable shots of the gimbal, you can always increase the frame rate to, let's say, 60 or 120 frames per second, so that way you can slow it down in post-production. Really have a look at my form here. Let's try the other way. We're gonna start off to the left, and we're gonna walk forward. Very nice. And we're gonna go back. See how smooth everything is coming out? That's your goal. One of the things that really helps me out, guys, is the lens that I'm using. It is the Zeiss 16-35 lens. This is my favorite lens to use on a gimbal because you get that beautiful range of wide angle to medium. But let's see how well we can do at 35mm. So I'm gonna increase the focal length. Now let's see how well we do. And I promise you it's gonna look almost just as good. I like the wider look more, but let's give it a shot. So smooth. That's what you want. Going back now. And really look and focus on how I'm moving the gimbal. I'm actually moving it with my body. Now, if things look pretty distorted from the BTS cam, that's because I'm using my Insta360 camera. So I use this camera because I want to capture every angle possible so you guys have a better learning experience. So from a different perspective, you guys can see how I'm holding the gimbal and how I'm positioning my shoulders and how I'm using the heel to toe method to walk straight. Again, my center mark is on in my camera, so that way it's really easy for me to focus on the composition and the overall frame and shot of this clip. So whenever you're trying to get this shot down, you always have to rehearse. And as you can see, no matter backwards or forwards, it comes out smooth. Let's go to 24. 24 is another great focal length. Very smooth. And you can also work with your pacing, your speed. When you're starting off, I suggest going slower, and then you can start speeding it up. Or again, you can speed it up in post. But if you want to be a better camera operator, work on your speed in real time. Now let's say you want to film low angle in POV mode. Well, guess what? You can also do that with your gimbal. Just turn it upside down. And now you can get really low down to the ground and incorporate POV mode that way. Now holding the camera this way can get pretty awkward very fast. I'm not even too confident with it, but all it takes is a little bit of practice. Just find a comfortable way to hold this thing. I'm using both the tripod grip and the angled grip on the Weebill 2. And I'm just practicing my movements here. I'm not perfect at this shot because I don't really use it, but for those of you who like those low angle shots, give it a try. So those are some tips on using POV mode. Again, if you haven't watched the 3 previous gimbal tutorials that I made in this series, make sure you check them out. I'll link them in the cards. And let me know what else you want to see when using a gimbal. I still have some more videos coming out, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't already, and like this video, and I'll see you in another one. Peace.